Hi, welcome to Starting Today with Sherry. I'm Sherry. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. Today, I'm going to be talking about my income since one of my big goals in my 50s is to increase my income significantly to hit many financial goals that I have for myself. Now, in the past, I have done quite a few different types of jobs, but since I have been married, which will soon be 3 years, I have gone through the first 2 years of my marriage with more low earning income and put more efforts into the household at that time. But in the last year, I have been working really hard to increase my income because we have a lot of things that we want to accomplish at this time. And so I am on track to have doubled my income in 2025 from 2024. And my big goal in 2026 is to double that as well. So I'm looking at ways that I can increase my income and yet still enjoy life. Having time for work as well as family and fun can be a challenge at times, but I'm working through it and sharing with you the things that I'm learning as I go to hopefully find where I need to be in 2026. So, to start off, I wanted to share with you the different streams of income that I currently am doing and what I hope to learn as I go with maximizing the amount of money that I can make in the time that I have. So, the first thing that I have been doing for almost a year now is I went back into the service industry and I am working as a server in a restaurant that serves lunch and dinner. So, basically, there are options for a lunch shift as well as a dinner shift. One of the things that I tried recently is that I went ahead and I got trained for bartending, thinking that the bartending option would be a way for me to earn more money than maybe I could as a server. And what I realized is that I don't really care for bartending so much. I realized that serving is more my place. I'm glad I went through the training. I know a little bit more that I feel like I can utilize and also be an assist the bartenders. We all kind of work as a team at the restaurant. So even though I gave that a try, I realized that it's not really my thing. So for the most part, I'm going to stick with serving. So, September was a unique month for me because typically I work mostly 4 to 5 shifts, if not more, a week at my serving job. But I had acquired for my other business a very large inventory of items that I needed to sell quickly. And so I needed to take off time to be able to put on two massive garage sales that brought in quite a bit of money so that I can move some of my inventory for my other business. So, with that, and also my husband and I had a little weekend getaway for one of our favorite activities, and that is attending a local film festival. So, those things took away from the time that I would normally be working as a server position. So, if you've never been a server, or maybe it's been a while, I started serving when I was in college. And guess what? All the way back then, we made $2.13 an hour plus tips. And that is exactly what I still make today in 2025. I know certain states might have different rules about that. And I know that there is a rule that you need to at least make minimum wage when it all comes down to things. But that is the current pay that I have for this particular job. And at the end of the night, there is a tip out that you do that is mandatory. And part of your tips will go to, actually, it's based on your sales. So it doesn't have anything to do with your tips. So if you have $1,000 in sales, they calculate a certain percentage of that will go tipped out to our hosts. And then a certain percentage of that would be tipped out to our bartender. So if you would ever get no tip on an item, then that does not mean you don't have to tip out. You still have to tip out based on a percentage of the sales for that particular table. I work at a really great restaurant with a great team and great guests. And so typically, most of the time, people are tipping close to 20%. Every once in a while, you get something lower than that. And every once in a while, you get a really amazing tip. So I'm pretty satisfied with the options that are there. The only thing that I find is difficult is that the summer months seem to have been quite a bit slower. We're looking toward the fall and the winter where we do pick up a lot, just because of the type of food that we serve and the type of clientele that we have. So we're really looking at things picking up as we go. Lunch shifts can be very tricky because you have a very short period of time to have tables, because a lot of people come in on their business lunch break. And so they need to come in and get out, and then it gets really busy, and then it just dies off very quickly. And so obviously the best nights to work, or the best shifts to work, would be evenings in general, as well as the weekends. And because I am trying to set aside specific time to spend with my son, who shares time with his dad, I have to make sure that I have a few nights where I'm not working. Once he goes off to college, I assume that I will be working more nights in general. Okay. Okay, so in the month of September, my serving job, I've got my information down here on my computer. I earned $1,187.23. And that is the money that hit my account. So the $2.13 that I make, obviously that part of the paycheck never reaches me. That is just based off of my tips. And at the end of the year, there's a very good chance that I will be owing taxes because the 213 doesn't cover enough. However, with the new rules with no tax on tips, which is a little misleading because you still get taxed. It's just a tax deduction from my understanding. And I'll find out more once the year's over with, and my tax consultant will help me with that. We'll see how that all turns out. But the money that I'm sharing with you is the money that actually gets deposited into my account. And a lot of them will have taxes at the end of the year. All right, so my second stream of income is from my online business. And I've been selling on eBay as well as Poshmark for quite a few years. eBay all the way since probably, I would say, about 2007 is when my son was born. And so that's when I kind of started, as a stay-at-home mom at the time, doing something to work out of the home. And I found online selling as an option for me. And so that's what I'm still doing. In fact, I am in my photography room for my online business. You can see the clothing in the background and some of the supplies and things that I have behind me. This is kind of my place to be able to do my videos. So it is a little cluttery in the back, but it's my working space. So online selling has also took a big dive. I honestly haven't been working it that much. I purchased a very large inventory from a friend of mine. I spent about $6,000 and acquired, I can't even remember how many pieces of clothing. It was a lot, as well as an entire garage full of items. So the garage sales have been an important part of liquidating a lot of that inventory, and then a lot of it will also go online. So there's two parts going on. So eBay only brought me in $400 in this month, and Poshmark only brought me in $199. And so that is after I've paid my fees, I've paid my shipping, I've paid all the things that I need to, except for income tax, of course. That is something that will get figured at the end of the year. The next stream of income that I have is through delivery services. I started doing DoorDash and Uber Eats this year as a trial thing to do. And so far, I've really enjoyed doing this. There have also been really slow times in the summer specifically. And the apps are always kind of changing things as far as how you can get out there and make money. And it's always, I mean, every stream of income that I have really in some ways is like a gamble. You never know what your day is going to bring. You can have some expectations, you can have some averages, but it really is a guessing game as to what you're going to get when your phone goes off and you look down at that order. Is it going to be a $3 order? Is it going to be a $20 shopping order? You just never know. So no matter what job I have, I just try my very best to do the best I can, give the best customer service, and to try to stay positive even when things seem to get a little negative. So with the DoorDashing and the Uber Eats, in DoorDash for the month of September, I had $535.92. And for my Uber Eats, which I don't do near as much, was $45.56. So then we have my next type of income is just kind of various incomes that I might find. And that's where we had the garage sales put into that. So with those garage sales, part of the income had to go for purchasing the inventory that I had gotten from my friend. So a bunch of that money went there, and then part of it I put into our family budget because I wanted to have an income from those days that I wasn't working at the restaurant, because those involved weekends. Some of my most profitable times at the restaurant were to be able to do these garage sales. So in the month of September, I brought in $1,451.80 for that. For the grand total in the month of September, $3,819.51 is what I brought to the table, what got deposited into my bank account. And again, that does not include the end of the year taxes. We had to pay taxes last year, and so our tax accountant helped us set up a plan so that we are paying quarterly this year. So we have money that we've been putting in for that, and then we'll see how much more we might have to pay at the end of the year, because definitely my income has increased, and most all of my income is not taxed income. So you do got to make sure that you pay your taxes, that you keep good records, because there are quite a few tax deductions that are out there. And I really suggest, if you are doing any type of business like this, that you talk to a tax consultant so you can make sure that you are getting every single deduction that you can and making sure that you are on top of paying your taxes. I know one of my coworkers, he has talked about how he is really backed up in his taxes has this big payment plan, and how he's very, very stressed because he had messed up not paying taxes and not setting aside money for taxes. And so he's always playing this game of catch up, trying to get his taxes paid. So really give you my biggest tip: set aside money. If you're in the service industry, if you're doing online selling, if you're doing DoorDash, things like that, make sure that you have that money ready for you at the end of the year. All right, so this brings me to my results for the year so far. So for 2025, starting at the beginning of the year through the month of September, we have a total of $39,146.29. Again, to be able to double my income from last year, I need to hit 44,000. So I'm only $5,000 away. But my big goal in 2026 is to bring my income all the way up to around $8,000 a month. So I am far, far short from that goal. I have 1 month so far in 2025 where I hit 6,000, and that will be really what I need to replicate. And so I hope that I can get things going. But right now it's all learning and trying to figure out how to use my time the wisest, but still making sure that I'm spending time for the household with all the children, and especially my oldest, who's going off to college. Since I don't get to see him as often, since he is sharing time with his dad, and he's very busy with his activities. So trying to find that work-life balance, like I said, is always a challenge. So starting today, I'm going to continue into the month of October working on strategies to bring me to reaching that goal eventually in 2026. But right now, that baby goal, doubling that income, I'm almost there. So thank you for being with me today on Starting Today with Sherry. I'll be updating with more income information and a little bit behind the scenes of how I'm doing some of these different jobs, and we will go from there. So, what's your goal for the month of October? What do you hope to earn? And if you're in a set salary type of a job and you need more income, maybe you could look at some of these side hustle options out there to be able to bring your income up, be able to have more in savings, be able to maybe go into investing and hitting your budget goals. Have a great day.